morning, everybody. Good afternoon, depending on where you're at. Happy almost Thanksgiving. We are happy to have you here with us today, so thank you for taking time to join us. My name is Saxon Barnes. I am our Director of Strategic Growth and Vendor Relations here at EnterOne. We've got an awesome session lined up for you today. We've got Will Berkeley, one of our amazing Copilot trainers and Microsoft subject matter experts. So he's going to go through an interactive Copilot experience to help you understand how to better utilize Copilot, whether in your business or with your teams, to ultimately become more efficient with the AI program. A couple of housekeeping items before we get started today. There will be a Q&A in the chat option, so please direct any questions you have there. We will either respond directly in the Q&A or we will have some time saved at the end of the session today to make sure all of your questions get answered. We have a few promotions and exciting items to go through at the end of the session as well for you to take advantage of around some of our Copilot initiatives and additional Microsoft training courses. So be sure to stick around for that. We will be sending out a recording of today's session as well as any of the content you see today with some links to, again, those promotions I mentioned. So again, thank you for joining. We're excited to get things started. And with that, I will go ahead and pass it over to Will. Will, all you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Saxton. Go on to the next slide here. All right, well, welcome to our demonstration, again, as Saxton said, of our Copilot 365. So my name is Will Berkeley, and I'll be guiding you through this introduction. We have three things that we want to cover today. We want to understand what Copilot prompts are and how we can more effectively craft prompts. Then I'll show you how to use this knowledge as we explore Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat and the system that will respond to our prompts. And then finally, we'll look at several examples of how you can use Microsoft 365 Copilot at work. It's very useful for you to get comfortable with what Copilot is looking for when you give it information. If you do this, you will master the art of crafting effective prompts, and it is an art. It is not a science. It is an art. Crafting effective prompts for Microsoft 365 Copilot. So this module is designed to enhance your skills in creating prompts that will generate precise and useful information and results from your prompts in Microsoft 365. So an effective prompt can really enhance Copilot's outlook and return accurate and contextually appropriate responses. Prompts are typically in four parts, as you can see on the slide: the goal, the context, the source, and your expectations. Now, when you ask someone at work for information, just anyone, a coworker, a subordinate, someone who works for you, you're going to provide the initial question. You probably are going to include the reasons you're asking, maybe the context behind it, and even offer certain resources that you want them to use. So the same thing works when you're talking to Copilot. Whenever you ask it to do something for you, the quality of your request is going to determine the quality of what you get back. So knowing how to write prompts is the key to unlocking the power of generative AI across the board. So to get the best responses, we want to make sure we understand how to frame and phrase your Copilot prompts. If all you offer to Copilot is your goal, then Copilot doesn't really know what to do with it or what it is you really want. That would be considered a bad prompt in the industry. So we don't want to do that. Copilot doesn't know what to do. So for example, if I was just talking to you and I said, okay, a little word association, you ready? If I said the word red to you, any number of things that you might be thinking. The color red, the movie red, a political party, something that's associated with redness, apples, or maybe you were thinking the other word red, the past tense of read, like I read that book, R-E-A-D. Anything might pop into your mind. But if I said red emergency vehicle, well, now you probably have something completely different in mind, a fire truck or something to that effect. So this shows the progression of prompts. The more specific you can be with your prompts to Copilot, the better response Copilot can give to you. So let's break it down. Let's break down the prompts into their 4 constituent parts. Here's an example of the progression of a prompt that someone might use in a research topic. So we start with a basic goal, like hybrid work models, all right? Hybrid work models. So what you want to get from Copilot. In fact, let me just start with that. I'm just going to start with that right there. So let me hop over to that slide, grab my information, and I'm going to paste into Copilot so you don't have to watch me typing. So that's a good thing, not to have to watch me typing. Let me grab that. I'm going to come over to Copilot just a moment. Pop over here. Downside of having, what is it, 11 different windows opened right now. No kidding, 11. So here I am in the Copilot homepage. All right, part of the Microsoft 365 suite. So I have available to me all of my other apps in Copilot, Word and OneDrive and Outlook and SharePoint and whatever. But here on the Copilot homepage, that's where I can access Copilot in order to put in my first prompt. So I'm just going to type in there, hybrid work models. Now, I didn't really give it all that much information, but Copilot goes to work and tries to give me its best scenario or its best response to that information. So let's take a look at it. Key types of hybrid work models. I won't read this to you, but you can see what Copilot came up with just 3 words, hybrid work models. It gives me several types, the benefits, the challenges. This is pretty good information. I could get started with this. But maybe I have something else in mind. I could look at the prompts that are down at the bottom, the suggestions that Copilot has given me, or maybe I have something else in mind. All right. So as I jump back to my screen for a moment, I can see, okay, context, a little more context on hybrid work models. How about our company is going to adopt a hybrid work environment? Okay, now I can put that into Copilot and give it a little more, tell a bit more about that. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and put that in. It builds on what the last thing was. This is a communication. This is a chat, similar to what you would do with anybody else. You send them something, they send you something back. You send them something, they don't start all over. It builds on what you sent to them last. And so Copilot does the very same thing. So it knows, even though I'm not really specifying perhaps what I wrote before, it has now a better idea, and it's going to think about this. And here it comes. It's thinking, it's still thinking. Thinking hard. It takes a long. From any one day to the next, from any one moment to the next, it might take longer or go quicker. Okay, so now we have a little step-by-step guide for adopting a Copilot or a hybrid work model. So several different steps, several different focus points that we might have. Okay, that's not bad. Let me come back again. So now I have a little more information. I'm gonna build up a little bit more. I want to include some academic articles and industry reports and so forth. So back to Copilot again. I'm going to go ahead and plug that in. So as I'm crafting this, I'm now giving it the research or the background that I wanted to focus on. And again, it's going ahead and searching through. Okay. I've done this like 11 times in the last 4 days. There it comes. All right. You know, it's important for me to also maybe note, since, in as much as I did do it earlier, this is still an independent chat thread that I'm running with Copilot, it's not building on the previous ones. Yeah, I could have gone back to the previous ones. I didn't want to, I wanted you to see it from the beginning. All right, so we have some academic articles, industry reports, perhaps trade journals, any number of different things that might come in here. All right, a few more suggestions, but that's not really where I want to go. I'm going back to my slide. So I have some expectations as well. And so I want to provide a summary of key findings, some statistics, and so forth. So once again, back to Copilot, I'm going to go ahead and include that. For that extra space, because I didn't need it. just because I'm picky that way. Okay, so here's some key findings, statistics. Harvard Business School as an example. I think I did ask for that, examples. So it pops up some things. Case study examples from Microsoft, from the whoever Thermo Fisher Scientific is, a company, obviously. By the way, these examples from these specific companies does not mean that Copilot is diving into their corporate data. These are articles and things that Copilot has found out on the web, all right, as noted by the fact that I have the web option selected, all right? We have two choices here at the top. Even when I got started at the very beginning, I just didn't point it out earlier. We have web sources that we can choose, or work sources where I can then direct Copilot to use internal content within my company, but it will not be spread throughout the internet. Your company's data, your organization's data stays with you. All right. It's only the things that are publicly published that will be available on the web and come up on the web responses. All right. So this is not too bad. I could take all of this, I could copy it into a Word document or something and start getting started with this. In fact, I think I might just do that. I might say, export that to Word. So it's thinking about what I asked it for, and then it's going to go ahead and do it. Oh, and this failed. Well, this does happen sometimes, right? Once in a blue moon. I don't know why it thinks it failed. It looks like it's doing to go ahead and do it. Okay, there, I think that's the file. Oh, there it is. Hybrid key findings. I can go ahead and click on that. I'm downloading it now onto my computer, and I can go ahead and open the file. Let's just see what it comes up with. Word is opening on screen number 2. Bring it over here in a moment. All right, so there's the file on the last points that I requested, because I said, export that, meaning the last point. All right, and from here I could take it and then, all right, and then I could go ahead and save it into OneDrive or somewhere. Maybe I'll go ahead and do that. And I'll just leave the same name. Now, by having it in OneDrive, I have access to it both on my computer and essentially anywhere else I might want to access it. And I think I'm done with that for the present time. We'll come back to that a little bit later. Actually, maybe I'll just minimize that and we'll come back to that a little bit later. Now, it's important to note also that if I do this just exactly as you saw me working, if I do it in a piecemeal, essentially, put in the goal and then put in the context and then put in the sources and then the expectations, I'm going to get these various parts of my answer. However, there may be times that I know exactly what I have in mind from the get-go, or if I want to take the time in my mind to craft my prompt so that all 4 parts are in a single request, then I won't get exactly the same answers, because now Copilot has the entire context of what I really want right from the very beginning. And so let's go ahead and start another chat. Let's come up here to Copilot again. So I'm starting a new chat, right? The previous chat is sitting right here. Overview of benefits of hybrid work models. So all the things that I just done in front of you are saved right here as a chat thread, similar to a chat thread in Teams or elsewhere. But I'm going to go ahead and put in the entire phrase, the entire thing that I was asking for. All right. So now it has all 4 of those parts: the goal, the context, the sources and the expectation. And so now, as a single response, it's going to give me everything that I want. There's my statistics, case study examples. Notice some of these are a little bit different, okay? Trip.com, I don't recall it. I saw that coming up earlier. But the Thermo Fisher Scientific, for one reason or another, came up this time and the last time. When I practiced this a couple of days ago, that one didn't come up. So in fact, none of these came up except for the Microsoft one. So you'd expect that to come up, Microsoft, right? So, all right. So once again, I'm going to go ahead and export this to Word. And because it's the entire thing, my entire prompt gave me all of that information at one time, I will get the Word document with all of the information all at once. Okay. I think once again, I'm going to go ahead and I have that. Let's see here. Don't have the link yet. Yeah, I'm not sure why I didn't do it this time. Let me go ahead and try it again. Let's give it another shot. Okay, here it comes. Just had to give it another try. I need to do that with coworkers sometimes. They need to do that with me sometimes. So it's not too unexpected that Copilot might need to take two running tries at it. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and open that file up. Again, Word is over on the side. So there's the entire thing, answering all of my questions, case studies, statistics, information. And I'll go ahead and once again save this. All right. Now at this point, I could either in Word, or if I hadn't actually exported it to Word, I could continue adding additional prompts. So let me go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to jump back into Copilot, and I'm going to say something like, let me think about this. It's lost more of my notes where I wrote a few things down, like how about positive and negative. Now you know why I was pasting. Okay, so I have some positive impacts and some negative impacts. Copilot's being very honest with me about this. All right. And then I could, since I've already exported the file once, I can go ahead and take all of that and I could then paste it in. Maybe I'll go ahead and do that right now. I'll go ahead and jump back into my Word document. Nope, not that one, another one. This one. Yes, this one. And I'll just throw it in here as additional information. All right. So again, you could continue adding additional prompts. You could do it in Word. I'll show you that a little bit later. So one thing I've noticed about Copilot is that it is learning and improving. Early on, when I started using Copilot some time ago, it would frequently stop and say, when I would type something, if I wasn't very precise and clear, it would stop and actually tell me, I'm not sure what you're asking for. Could you clarify that? Nowadays, I have to really write something quite convoluted to make Copilot have any troubles with that before it throws up its hands and asks for help. Um, and by the way, some of the prompts that I'm entering, as you might notice, I've never entered those before. All right. Now, this could be a little bit unnerving, in a presentation situation like this. And I wouldn't have done it, at the very beginning, because I didn't have the same confidence that I have now, and partly because Copilot was still kind of at its beginning. But now I'm pretty confident no matter what I write, unless it's completely off the wall, Copilot is going to give me a pretty reasonable response. Now, I know, and you probably know people like this too, they will never admit when they don't know the answer. Copilot's not that way. If it doesn't understand your question or if it doesn't have any information, it will simply say so. And then you can recraft your prompt. So another question that I sometimes ask when I'm in a topic that's kind of out of my wheelhouse is, what else do I need to know about this topic? The implication is, what do I not know enough to even ask you, Copilot? And so I'm going to go ahead and throw that in. I've not done that before, but it occurred to me this morning because I usually ask that question like whenever I'm, asking somebody something that's, completely unknown to me. I might say, what else about this topic should I know about? And I'll just see what Copilot comes up with because I'm not sure. And it probably will change from time to time. But I'm confident it's going to give me some information. Oh, yeah. Labor. And again, I didn't do this before, so I don't know what's going to happen. So, yeah, labor laws, legal issues, all right, the culture, technology, all sorts of different things might be useful for me to include. I'm going to go ahead and grab all of that and put it into my, no, I don't want to do that. I'm going to copy that, put it back into my Word document. Nope, not that Word document, the other Word document. There we go. And I'll go ahead and put it in here. Now, is this document completed? No, no. Our goal in using Copilot is not to let it do all of our work. We just sit back and have donuts or, whatever it is you're having. But to give us good information so we can continue crafting whatever our final product is going to be. Copilot is not replacing us. It's giving us the information so we can improve our output. That's the goal here. That's what Copilot is about. So keeping those 4 parts in mind, let me jump back here. Keeping those 4 parts in mind whenever you're crafting things for Copilot is going to help you. Frankly, it's going to help you when you're using Copilot. And these, like I said before, are not bad things to keep in mind when you're just asking a person about information, a coworker or an employee or anybody, but to organize the question in these 4 parts. What are you asking for? Why do you need it? What's the context and or what's the sources you want them to draw on? And then what are your expectations as far as the output goes? Let's go a little bit further. Let's talk a little bit more about Copilot Chat, as we've seen just one example of it. Now, specifically, we're talking about the Copilot prompt gallery, all right? Writing or crafting, as I said before, is an art. There is no single one absolute right way to do it. There's a lot of flexibility in this, just as if you were talking to someone. If you go up to someone, there's probably more than one way to get the information that you want, more than one way to ask a certain question. So the Copilot gallery is going to help you get started with that art of prompting. So it can help organizations with onboarding and adoption of information by providing essentially a single experience, Copilot, to help users wherever they are in their journey of the workflow. So the gallery is not merely prompts, it's a library of comprehensive learning resources. It's going to help everyone, you and your coworkers and everyone else, to begin your Copilot journey And I mean that not generally just like I've never used Copilot before, but as you begin with the prompt, you have a new question to start. You're beginning your Copilot journey for that. But to have confidence that Copilot will have the information available and then you can take advantage of it in your daily workflow all the time because it's going to consolidate the best resources, which will include training videos sometimes or ready-made prompts or information drawn from, if I'm using the internal side, not the web side, but the work side, it can draw from our own internal best practices or get insights from early adopters, or other findings from the Microsoft research team. Copilot is always being improved because the research team is always adding to it. So this consolidation makes the Copilot prompt gallery a comprehensive guide to starting with generative AI. And like I said before, not just starting initially, but starting whenever you have a question, whenever you're researching something, whenever you need an answer. So the gallery shows up in Word and in PowerPoint and in Excel and in OneNote. I don't have Teams on my list, but I'm pretty sure it shows up in Teams in various places as well. But it also shows up in the Microsoft 365 homepage, which we were looking at before. So these are similar to, if you're familiar at all with Copilot agents, agents each have a specific collection of their own data, whether it be external data that you're picking out for the agent to make specific use of, or you can create internal agents that will pick out specific information of your own organization's data, whether you're doing an internal or an external agent. So in a similar manner, when you're on the web side, the Copilot gallery is going to give external information. If you're on the work side, then the gallery is going to give specific information within your own workflow and your organization's information. But those two are not going to accidentally flow into each other. So the fact that you may use both doesn't mean that when you're on the website that your work information is going to fall into the public internet. That's not going to happen. So, but the point is that the responses and the suggestions are going to be customized to whatever it is you're specifically looking for. So let me see here. I'm going to come over here to a little demo thing. We're going to take a look at the gallery on the home page, and then we're also going to look at it in several different other places as well. So let me go jump back to Copilot again, and I'll go ahead and start I'll get out of this chat and come to a new home page. So the gallery that I'm speaking about are these little questions at the bottom. Key points from, there's a file that I was using earlier, or would I like to upload some content and have Copilot help me rewrite it, or use something from designers. Those aren't the only ones though. However, I have a little see more button, and you'll see I have quite a few other choices. If I don't like those, I can see less. All right. But those are some of the more popular selections that I have available to me. So list of recent activity, and when it says specific file, then I can then choose which file that I want. All right. Or help me prepare for a review of understanding relationships. That was something I was doing in a previous class and so forth. So I can choose any one of those. Create a soft focus pastel mood board. Probably not going to pick that one right now. But if I said, what are some tips for note taking in class? If I click on that, that's my prompt. It just gave me that prompt, put it up there. I could say specifically a tech class on AWS. All right, AWS. If I could spell AWS, that would be nice. Okay, and so then I'll have a bulleted list and some sub-bullets, some file source content, all related to that particular thing. So the gallery gave me the beginning of a prompt, and then I could either take it as it was, or then again, add some more specifics to it, following those same 4 steps, the goal, the context, and so forth. All right, I'm going to start another one. And where I want to go this time is to actually go, there's another link. I think I saw it on the slide earlier, the Copilot gallery link. And so I have it up here. Normally I would have clicked on it on the slide. In fact, let me go back to the slide so I can show that to you. It was on right there at the bottom, aka.ms/Copilot gallery. Normally I would have just clicked on that, but on this particular computer, since I am teaching, I'm not kidding, I have 4 different licenses that I'm signed into right now, and the one I'm using is not my primary. If I clicked on it, it would take me over to my primary production account license, and I don't want to use that. So that's why I put in a little link on my browser, because I'm signed into a different account, so that way I'll be able to stay there. You would normally just be able to click on the link and that would be fine, but I have the link right here. So when I click on it, this is the Copilot gallery page. It's coming up in a moment here. There it is. This is the full-blown Copilot gallery page. And you can see there aren't just a dozen or maybe, 16 or so prompts. There are quite a few prompts. I mean, like quite a few. I mean, like, quite a few. So with this many, I could spend a fair amount of time, drinking coffee and reading through these, but that's probably not the most efficient way of doing things, is it? No, I don't think so. So we have some filters at the top. If I'm focusing on a particular task, maybe it's something related to learning something. So I'll go ahead and click on Learn. Sip of coffee. Oh, maybe it updated and I didn't even notice. Oh, I was expecting it to kind of reflash the screen. So I could do Learn. There it goes. Yeah. So I just didn't do it while I was looking. Or Create. You can see the various categories of tasks if I'm preparing for something. All right. Whatever these might be. So, and if I have several things, I'm not sure, is it considered catch up or prepare or analyze, then it will whittle down the list of gallery options so that I can see quite a few different things, but they will be more specific to what I had in mind. So I'll go ahead and clear these out. And I'm back to the very beginning. If it's some sort of a job type activity that I have in mind or that I'm focused on, let's say I'm looking at I'm an executive or dealing with, frontline management, then the questions are going to be adjusted for that as well. So that way I don't have to slog through literally hundreds of different starter prompts to get to begin the process. Or if I'm looking at an agent, there are a number of agents that I've created or standard agents that are just a part of Copilot. These are obviously made by somebody else. I don't speak whatever language that is. I don't know what it is, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. Several people use this account from time to time, so it's not my account. But I can click on any one of my agents that have been created, and you will see various questions will come up for those. And then if I don't want to use those, I don't need to, and I'm back to the beginning again. So let's see here. Suppose I want to do I'm doing something with like creating, all right? Creating. And I can, analyze some text and make some improvements on it. That's not a bad idea. I think I might do that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And then I could paste the text in there, or I could just, in order to see what I want to improve, or type it from scratch. Okay, I could type it from scratch. So the other option I have there, let me jump back down to make sure I'm not missing anything on my notes. Yeah, is to, I'm not going to paste anything in there right now. I'm not going to take the time on that, but I'll do it on the Word side. I'll do it on the Word side. But the point here is that the gallery, either here on the Copilot homepage, where I'll see kind of a subset. I'm not going to see every single one of those things, but I can also go to the gallery on the prompt gallery this way to get there as well. So either a link you might keep it on your browser, or you can come over here on the gallery with the button at the bottom. I was looking for one in particular that I saw yesterday I wanted to try, and now there. So it's probably down in the list somewhere else, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. You can also go to, if I had any saved prompts, then I could create those and save them and have them available to me here again. And I have those various things. If I had a lot of prompts, I could categorize them according to those three major categories: tasks and job type and Copilot agents. So I won't take the time to do that. So I haven't taken the time to do that to save any prompts, but they would be listed there as well. All right. So all right, and I'm going to go ahead and click on this again. I could go ahead and describe that. So, all right. Let me come back here and make sure I'm not missing anything. I'm going to do that thing in Word, so that's looking pretty good. All right. Now, if I just wanted to, get started there at the beginning with the prompt, all right, I can just do something like, let me come back over here, and I'll just say, get rid of that prompt again, and I'll just say, I want to write an introduction to our company to a new vendor that we want to acquire, all right? It'd be different depending on different companies, but Copilot knows that. And so it's going to leave little spaces for me to fill in the specifics. So, dear vendor name, hope this finds you well. My name is, plug in your own name, plug in your company name. This isn't a bad start. Now, once again, I'm not going to copy and paste this into an email and just send it, but this is where I would get started. I would then add more specific information. All right. Or I could say, take this prompt. I'm going to tailor it for a tech vendor. Okay. I'll go ahead and do that. And it'll take that same information and adjust it for me. We won't do a side-by-side comparison, but you'll just have to, trust me that there are different things here that are going on. So, and then additional prompts that I can do, or I can add my own. And then once it gets to the point where I want it to be, I could export that to Word, as I've done several times before. Since it's something I've done before, you probably saw it. It popped up in my history. Now, no, I don't think I'll do that. I'm kind of curious as to what that would do, setting up my own company logo and branding when I didn't really tell it which company I was using, but that's okay. It would go ahead and, probably walk me through what's your company name, what's your logo, put it in the right place and so forth. All right. Now, if I mentioned before that it can help craft and adjust some of the things you've already done. So let me just jump over to a pre-created document if I had this, because I mentioned the Copilot, the chat and the prompts are also in the various apps within the Microsoft 365 suite. So let's say I had a document that I'd written on, well, let's say relationships in Power BI, one of the classes that I frequently teach. All right. And so up on the home tab, you'll see the little Copilot control button there, little Copilot control. And I'm going to say, let's see, there's some things that I've done before. It's picking up that. And so I'm going to say, make it suitable for business, rewrite it in non-technical. No, I just want to make this document more concise. Feel like I was a little bit verbose with this. All right. So I can go ahead and do that. Okay. So we've got the introductory paragraph, which is now quite a bit shorter. All right. We still have the information about cardinality with the different types of relationships, one to many and so forth. explanation of what the one and the many stands for. That was down here a little bit lower. All right, a little bit of information about cross filtering and the two options, and then a closing option. All right, so I could say, oh yeah, that's still too long. I'm going to shorten it to 100 words. And so again, Copilot is giving me prompts to help it with its prompts. So it gives me suggestions. And now it's really quite short. Yeah, the whole thing is only about 100 pages. And here's a Word document that I can then go ahead and use. All right. Oh, there's the sources. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. It's hopping over to my account. Did you notice I had 3 or 4 different accounts that were open at that moment? So it's asking like, which one do you want? Okay, there's my original again. And once again, I can make use of Copilot with the shortened version of it. All right, copy and paste that if I want to. That's me in there twice, unfortunately. So I'm actually logged in twice. So it's saying, oh yeah, trainer 13, that's me already. So I'm in there twice. Once in Word, the Word desktop app, and now once in online. But that's okay, no problem there. But the main point here is that we can make use of those prompts in the various apps that we want. All right. So I'm going to go a little further with this. I'm going to go ahead and try it in another app. I'm going to come over to SharePoint. And go to one of my SharePoint sites. Okay. And in my documents library in this particular site, I have a Excel file that has a lot of raw information that I would like some assistance in analyzing it. I have a projects file, so I'll go ahead and open that. I could open it as it is, or I could go ahead and click this and go ahead and open it in the app. So you're in the browser or in here in the actual desktop app. So I'll go ahead and put it in the desktop app. Just a few more different functionality, a little bit fuller functionality in the desktop app. Not too much different anymore. It used to be quite a bit of difference between the online and the desktop apps, but not that much anymore. So here I am with this Excel file. It has various projects, what category they're in, who is assigned to it. I have maybe 50 or so rows, not too very much, but there's Copilot again. Now, as I click this little drop down for Copilot, I can either start a chat with it or actually learn some skills related to Excel. So I can say, hey, Copilot, I'd like to learn a little bit more about Excel, but I'm going to go with the chat. I'm going to go with the chat. So it takes a quick gander at this document, and it comes up with some suggestions. Would you like to analyze this workbook? What would you like to have it do? Summarize the data. Let's go ahead and do a little analysis. Oh, there's actually some more, again, in the prompt. Okay. Write a formula for the description, analyzing my regression analysis. I'm still going to stick with the first one. Analyze this workbook. Give me some interesting data insights. Once again, I have not done it to this file before. All right. So having no idea what Copilot is going to come up with, I'm fairly confident that I can do this in front of you and I'll get some good information. All right. So it found out that we're spread across 6 categories. That's not too bad. All right. Giving me some information about the various people, employees to whom these projects are assigned, talking about the difference between the budget versus the actual costs. Budget versus actual costs over here. All right. And then the work hours, how long things were expected to take versus how long they actually took. All right. And then potential outliers, projects with Actual cost much lower than the budget. That's nice to know, at least regarding project 6 and 15 and so forth. So I could take that, I could take that and put it into a Word document. In fact, I think I will do that. Let me export that to Word. See how it'll do from the Excel side. Okay, Project Insights in Word. What I'm doing right here when I click on that is I'm basically downloading it from where Copilot is holding it onto my own computer. And there I have it. So information as we saw related to contributors, budgeting, costing, work hours, timelines, outliers, and so forth. What do we do next? All right. And then I can take that all and continue on with it. You'll see that there's a little on each. Let me close that and show it to you again. Whenever I click into a paragraph, when I'm in a paragraph, there's a little Copilot. In addition to the Copilot on the ribbon, I have a Copilot prompt for each of the paragraphs. So if I could said something like, expand this paragraph. Never done that before. Think that might be useful. Okay, so instead of just 2 lines, I now have a 5-line description. All right. Or if it was too large, I could make it a little bit more concise, as I showed you in Word. So again, we have the little prompts here. I could decide, oh yeah, I do want to keep that. My choice is I can go ahead and keep that. And I could get rid of the original one. If I had the original one selected instead of just clicked on it, it would have actually replaced one over the other. But it's nice to have the choice. All right. All right. I'm going to keep going with another example here. Let me go ahead and close that. I don't need to really save that, but I'll go do it anyway. All right. I'm going to come over to Outlook for a moment here and click on Copilot again. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And I'll say something like, let's see here. Let's see what it comes up with. I'll wait and give it a moment, see if it comes up with any suggestions for me. All right. What matters most in my inbox? Orient me for the day. Let's see here. What quick wins can I get right now? So I might do my own, like get my mouse to click in there. Come on, Copilot. There we go. Just took a moment. Let me see here. How about summarize the last emails I have received during the past 7 days. But skip those with FW. Hello, where is it? Subject line. Don't care about those. People are just forwarding something to me. I don't care. So for all the different folders that I have and content that I have, okay. I have one from marketing. One of my coworkers is writing to me. Here's a little bit about Copilot and AI resources, little information from Microsoft on new things that have been added of late, right? Training class administration. Okay, very good. Okay, information about classes that I'm teaching, metrics that matter, the surveys that come in after the classes, all right, and so forth, all right. I noticed, and I put it in there specifically to see if it would skip it for me. I did have an FW earlier, all right, which is not on my list. So it skipped that specifically because I said skip the ones that have FW, that are forwards All right. I suppose I probably could have typed skip all the forwards. Not sure I necessarily know that because, not all forwards have like FW and so forth. So, but me searching for specific or having Copilot search for specific content to be skipped or to be focused on wouldn't be a bad thing at all. All right. While we're here in this little drop down, there's a draft option as well. In addition to me doing the chat, I can do a draft. So I could say, short and friendly message. Here's the prompts I have. Announcement, create a newsletter, give an update. All right. Maybe I'll go ahead and do that real quick. Do an update about the new Power BI courses, right? With my co-workers about the new Power BI courses. All right. We'll see what it comes up with. Hi, team. All right. That's not a bad start. Again, Copilot isn't doing all of my work for me. It's giving me kind of a skeleton that I can then build on. All right, I can keep that or discard it. If I keep it, it becomes a draft, all right, which is, point is drafting. So along those lines, let me go ahead and close that again. Along those lines, again, with the drop down for Copilot in Outlook and the other apps as well, I might add, but I'll just do it here. I also have a settings option. So Copilot also has some things in the settings. So if I don't want Copilot to be making suggestions for me, I can just turn it off. I can just turn it off and save that. And then you'll see that the Copilot button, the little control, is still on the ribbon, but it's grayed out. It's not going to make use, not going to be used for me right now. Or if I turn it on and go ahead and save that again, then I have a number of different draft instructions that I can give it. So I can tell it, what kind of tone do I want to portray it generally? What's the length? Am I by nature verbose and I needed to shorten it? Or am I a little bit terse and I need Copilot to expand it? And then what type of a greeting? I'm not going to enter those right now, but just to show you that those options are there so that Copilot can, even from scratch, begin and kind of follow my style of writing as I'm going along. All right. Let's keep going with this. This is my Power BI file, which I'm all finished with for the present time. And I think I'm all done with Excel as well. Okay. So we saw the various parts of the Copilot prompt gallery. So let's take a look at how in this section that basically Copilot's going to meet me wherever I am. Whatever I happen to be doing, Copilot can assist me with that just from scratch. So the reason this works for me, especially in regards to internal content, is the Microsoft Graph. It's the connective tissue that is going to bind all of your services, all the different apps that are part of the Microsoft 365 suite. So this is especially where Copilot Chat and the agents can help you with your internal organizational data, because it's going to include our primary apps, Outlook and OneDrive and SharePoint and Teams and Word and Excel and PowerPoint. So very recently, I read a testimonial from somebody named Michael. Not too much detail about the person, but they were a support engineer, customer support engineer. They had a decade of experience, but he saw firsthand the practical benefits of integrating Copilot into his workflow. So Copilot was able to reduce the time that Michael spent on administrative tasks as he was helping customers, summarizing cases, outlining the next steps. And he says that it went from anywhere from 40 minutes or more for a single case to less than 15 minutes. So the efficiency not only allowed him to address the customer needs even within the same day, so more quickly, but it also contributed to his work-life balance because he could meet his goals and his company expectations and the whatever you would want, losing the word right now all of a sudden, the minimum, number of cases that he would cover, whatever that, I forgot what that word is. So be able to do it within a normal work day. So the Copilot that he was using not only didn't replace the work that he was doing, but it complemented what he was doing. Again, Copilot is not going to take over and do the work instead of Michael, but it enhanced his productivity and allowed him to be more immediate and effective in his customer service. So it gave him the ability to cover those tasks more efficiently. But Michael's story is just one example of Copilot's transformative impact across multiple industries, from anybody just fresh coming out of college to professionals who've been in the workforce for 10 or 20 years. Copilots is a streaming workflow. It's adjusting as it goes along, learning from you and learning in general. And it can cut down your work time by 50% or more, because it's doing a lot of those initial steps for you, and then hands it back over to you and says, now, what do you think of this? In the same way that you might, if you had somebody writing a document for you, if you're the final arbiter, if you're the final editor, rarely will you just say, that's good enough, just send it on, just post it, just publish it, just, release it. No, you would take that, whoever that person's work is, and then you would make your final adjustments to it, and then you would move on. So that's what Copilot's doing. Copilot's not replacing you in the writing process or in the production process, the creation process. It's giving you more quickly information. And again, based on the graph, drawing data from multiple different sources, chats that you've had, emails that you've had, you can make it as generalized or as specific as you want to, both with the web versus work side of Copilot and with the agents that you can create, which again, whether externally or internally, can narrow down their sources, the third part, the sources, the sources that it uses to gather the information it's going to pass on to you. So I'm going to give you a couple of more examples of how this might work. So how are we doing on time? Saxton, I know we're short on time, but I'll just keep on going here for a few more minutes. May not try all three of these examples, but I'll try a couple of them. So
no problem.
That's not where I wanted to go. I wanted to go back to Copilot. So back to Copilot, getting out of this. I'll go ahead and jump back into my Copilot homepage. Okay, so I'm just going to tell Copilot that first example. Let's say I'm doing some traveling, going to Latvia, going to do a 5-day travel itinerary for investigating manufacturing opportunities in that country. Now, you notice I haven't told it everything yet. Didn't tell it where I'm flying from, didn't tell it how I want to travel, but it's assuming, okay, the 5-day itinerary is once I get there. I think that's probably what's going to assume. So we have the arrival, right? Various hotels, Radisson Blue. All right, I guess that's the Radisson. So it used to be just called the Radisson. I don't know why it's called Radisson Blue now. So, all right. Several things over those course of those days. Oh, you have to go to Jelgava. If you ever go to Latvia, you have to go to Jelgava. I'll tell you that for sure. And Liepāja on the coast. So, all right. Business etiquette and so forth. Oh yeah, that's good information since I'm crossing into a different, into a slightly different culture. All right. So let's see here. In addition to that, maybe I want to let's see here. Let me add in. Summarize the travel costs. Let's see here, including airfare and hotels. Oh, maybe airfare from Seattle, Washington to Riga, and hotels and transportation. Oh, no, I should say hotels. I don't want to confuse it with thinking transportation is not airfare. I was going to say taxis and such, but we'll leave it as it is and just see what it comes up with. So at the present time, these are the costs. Wow, a lot cheaper than I remember them last time I was there. So again, we have several places here, several hotels that we can stay at. All right, stay a night in Liepāja. Okay, very good. Transportation, I didn't even ask for it. It's still giving it to me. Car rentals and so forth. All right, the bus, excellent. Depending on how you're going to be traveling. All right. Let me see. Do you want me to prepare? Yes, I'm just going to, with this question being the last thing that it has in there, I'm just going to say yes. Let's see what it does. I didn't give it any more information, but based on its previous question that it closed with, you'd think that Copilot would know. I said yes to its question. So let's see what it does. Let's see what it does. My question was, do you want me to prepare a detailed cost table in Excel? Okay, let's see what it does. Okay, had a little trouble. No, let's try it again. Those costs into Excel file, into an Excel file. I see the little thing for Word, but I'm going to skip that for the present time. I really want to see this in Excel. Did I not click? I thought I clicked. Yes, I did. I didn't click. That's my fault. Okay, download the file. Here it is. I'm not sure if I've given it enough detail for it to give me too much information or a lot of information. I wasn't really all that specific about things. I didn't pick out the hotels. I didn't pick out the airfare, and so forth. But from a general standpoint, it's going to give me what it can. Okay, that's not bad. All right, day in Riga, hotel cost, transportation, meals, and so forth. Some of these are fairly standard, right? Surprising that, okay, the hotels are all mostly the same, okay? Ventspils, yes, should definitely be cheaper, so I'm just, giving you information about this. I happen to know it's cheaper. I'm surprised Liepāja is cheaper, but, well, pretty much everything's cheaper than Riga, the capital. But that's not a bad place for me to start, and I could move on from there, all right? Probably if I asked it like, which are the best flights that are not overnight and don't have any, layovers and so forth. That's going to be pretty difficult for Copilot for anybody. I mean, they change all the time, but it would probably give its best shot to it. All right, let me come over here and try another one. All right, so I'll do one more. A real quick one here on a new topic. Once again, I'm just pointing out that the previous chats, benefits chat and challenges to hybrid work, note-taking with AWS, professional company acquisition, all those previous chats are listed here in my chats list. All right, so suppose I'm traveling to another country. I'll go ahead and do that. Need to learn, like, what are the most important things for me to learn how to say in Spanish? Okay. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. All right. And then I could then whittle it down to, a particular country or a particular environment or whatever it is. But those are good things to know, frankly, almost in any country that you go to. How to say good morning, good afternoon, please, and thank you, you're welcome, etc. All right. But I think this will probably be sufficient for where we're going with this. So so the idea here was for us to, give you an idea of what Copilot prompts were available to you, what the whole Copilot chat is available to you, and again, the gallery and the variety and the flexibility that Copilot has as you're moving forward with it. So again, the 4 parts of the prompt are going to help you greatly in getting good information back from Copilot. It's not that it doesn't have the information, it just needs to know exactly what you're looking for so it can respond appropriately, just like anybody else would. All right. Saxton, I'm going to turn it back over to you and let you close it out.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Will. And thank you for that awesome demo. And thank you everyone for hanging in with us for this. If you have any questions based on what Will just went through, again, please feel free to utilize the Q&A and we'll answer those before the close of the session today. Will, if you don't mind, if you could go to the next slide, please. We can skip this one as well. Thank you. Awesome. So one thing I want to talk about is something based on what Will just went through, something we've put together as the team here at EnterOne to enable your Copilot journey and enhance your ability to use Copilot as a platform specific to your persona base to the team members on your team and where they're at currently with their Copilot expertise. So we know that with all of the different AI options you have out there, it can be difficult to navigate and maybe know where to start or what may make sense for you and your team as a training. So what we built is an enablement program that we call EnterOne Copilot Road Mapping that demystifies that for you and takes that guesswork out. So what we can do with you is set up a quick analysis session where we can get the information around the different personas on your team, your different needs in terms of training specific to those different areas, and align to different Microsoft Copilot focused trainings that best fit your needs. Again, helping you adopt generative AI faster, helping you understand and embrace AI and maybe explore some areas that you didn't know were options and feature sets to AI. So we can go to the next slide, please. So what we've done there is we've broken this out into 5 different levels. You'll see some course recommendations here aligned with those different levels. Though these are great options, these are not the only options available to you for these different levels. So at level 1, we want to start with your awareness of Copilot. We want to then move on to your foundational knowledge, understanding how to use it at the very entry level. Then we'll dive into specific use cases in level 3. From there, we can get specific to deep dives and more into a technical route. And then finally, mastery, which will be our most technical training option for Copilot. So again, the courses aligned here to these different levels will be the suggested routes there. However, there are other courses we offer that align to these different areas. And if you find that you need a mixture or a custom delivery of maybe some different modules in line with each of these trainings, we can absolutely deliver custom options specific to your needs. So that goes for Copilot, that goes for any other Microsoft course that you and your team need. But we do offer paths and want to make sure we're prescriptive as well as complementary to your exact needs as you begin and continue to go down your Copilot journey. So again, with this program, we've found that this is going to accelerate your time to value, your user adoption. Again, we're taking out that guesswork in terms of where to go and what's best for your specific users. And as leaders as well, we can offer those sessions on how you can utilize Copilot to enhance your day-to-day workflow to free up time on your calendars as well. So again, please engage with us around those custom sessions as well as these scheduled options for you. We'll have leave behinds for all of this information, as well as my information to follow up with any of these engagements. If we can go to the next slide here. And on top of that, we do have what we call our Empower platform. So this is another area where you can explore our Microsoft trainings as well as Copilot recorded sessions on demand. The nice thing about this is it's completely free for you and your team to use right now. So that QR code will take you out to the site where you can then search for Copilot. We'll have all of our recorded and on-demand sessions around the topic housed here for you and your team to access 24/7. On this platform, we will also, with the topics listed for the on-demand sessions, we will suggest training paths aligned with those. So again, another great way to find information on where to go next with your training path and consume some of our content that's out there for free. Next slide, please. Awesome. And finally, please feel free to follow us on our socials. We are on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. The recording for today's session, as well as our other Copilot webinar series sessions, will be housed on YouTube as well through the links listed below. We do ask that you please fill out the feedback form that helps us improve these sessions as we continue to move forward and bring more Copilot awareness to you. Again, we'll have the link to the recorded sessions for you there, the link to our empowered platform for the on-demand sessions, and the full document for our Copilot road mapping enablement program. And finally, my info will be listed there. Please follow up if you'd like to schedule some time to discuss any of these further, as well as your Copilot journey. So with that, we thank you again for coming to the session today. We'll leave a few minutes and hang out here for a little bit if there are any questions that come through. But we want to wish you from EnterOne to you and your families a very happy Thanksgiving for those of you that are in the United States. And please enjoy your time off if you have that coming up. Again, this will all be sent out to you afterwards. And thank you again. We'll wait for the questions to trickle in. Ready. We'll give it another minute here. I don't see any in the chat now. Wait just a second. Feel free to follow up with us as well. If you don't have a question now, if anything comes up, again, my contact information will be listed there, and we'll be happy to answer those after the session as well. Alrighty. Well, I don't see any other questions, so I think we are going to go ahead and close out today's session. Keep an eye out for the follow-up content, and thank you all again.